Welcome to the Noah Fast intro session. I'm Chef Brandy, joined by,
Reverend Cherie.
and our purpose for this is to help you to get an understanding of the experience of the Noah Fast, right?
Yes, that's indeed. People have been asking a lot of questions, wanting to know more, and so we wanted to just put it all together in an easily accessible way. So,
Yeah, let's
yeah,
just
let's
jump on
get
in.
started. Yeah,
Cool. So, the Noah Fast. What is this? Well, first, who are we? I guess that's even more
that's the
important,
most
right?
important thing, right? Before we get started, who are we? I am Reverend Cherie Jones, and I'm Brooklyn native. I rep Brooklyn all the time. Married with three children. I am an ordained reverend, and I also have my own ministry called Thrive Time. And Thrive is an acronym which stands for through healing and rejuvenation. I'm victorious in everything, so I'm always about looking for ways to empower people through self care and self awareness practices.
Love that. And I am Chef Brandy. I am a certified plant based chef on a mission to help us to have more fun playing with our plant based food as we add it into our lives. I like to help people find simple, creative ways to just shift their relationship with plants.
And guess what? You've helped me a lot with that too. So this relationship has been very beneficial
I
for
love it.
me. I've improved my relationship with plants tremendously
I
with this
love it.
collaboration.
Yay, woohoo. Look at that. So before we get grounded, um, we we wanted this info session to feel like the fast, right? So the fast is very interactive. It's not your typical fast where we're thinking about all the things we can't do. We're really thinking about all the things that we can do. So just to get started, one of the things that we always just like to kind of get things going with is just thinking about how much of the rainbow that you eat every day. And if you're watching this, if you could just drop it in the chat, that would be really helpful. Drop it in the comments, whatever this is going to be. Or even if you're getting this via email, you can just reply to the email and let us know how many rainbow foods are you eating every day.
But to specify, we mean, and I always
Oh,
have to say this, when we say eat the rainbow,
yes.
we are not telling you to eat Skittles, right?
No.
Skittles tells you to taste the rainbow. We don't want you to eat candy. We're talking about naturally colorful foods. So those plant-based foods, how many green, red, purple, yellow, orange foods are you eating on a daily basis?
Yes. Thanks for that clarity.
Yeah, yeah. Right. And so we asked that question because this fast is called the Noah fast because it's structured around the biblical story of Noah. And I always refer to Noah as the biblical pandemic, right? So it's the pandemic before we ever experienced a pandemic. So we can, I think, more relate to the Noah story now because we've had our own global pandemic and we can understand to some degree some of the experiences that they probably had during the time of the Great Flood. And so let's just take a look at the Noah story. Many people are familiar with the Noah story. Maybe you went to vacation Bible school or you went to Sunday school. You sang the songs, and so you remember some of the key elements about the Noah story, right? So, what are the elements of the story? There was the ark, right? There was the flood. God said, because of humanity's disobedience, God wanted to cleanse the earth and start afresh, but he set aside a remnant of Noah and his family. Noah found favor in God's eyes. And so God told Noah to build an ark, this large vessel. Because a flood, a big storm was coming, the land would be flooded. And then what are the other elements? The animals. Noah was told to bring the animals onto the ark two by two, male and female of every kind, right? And then there was the rainbow at the end of the storm, at the end of the flood. God put a rainbow in the sky as a symbol that the storm was over. And the main theme of this story is really about obedience and patience, because Noah had to be obedient to what God was calling him to do. But there also was a level of patience because they were on the ark and it's hard to calculate exactly the number of days they were on the ark, but it's estimated that they were on the ark for at least 150 days. So there was a level of patience and waiting on God to see them through the storm. I got to get an amen from somebody with that one.
Yes, indeed.
And then the theme also is about sacred solitude, because we know from our own pandemic experience, we were locked up, shut in.
Mm-hmm.
Some people felt like they were locked up with their families, shut down, locked down. But there's a level of solitude that comes with this pandemic. It comes with being on the ark. What came with us being going through this pandemic. And so there's a sacred solitude that God set them aside to be in the ark, to experience this kind of solitude. So, Brandy, if you want to just kind of shift now to the main elements of the Noah fast as it relates to the Noah story.
Yeah, so just like Cherie just talked about, like the elements of the Noah story, those inspired the elements of this fast. So obviously, water was definitely a part of the experience. So water is definitely a part of our experience. We have recipes, actually created water recipes that make a lot of sense and encourage you to have 1 gallon of water a day during our time together, right? Just like there was a flood, we want to flood our bodies with water the exact same way. The rainbow, one of the elements, if you've gone to vacation Bible school or anything about heard anything about Noah, you know the rainbow, which is a perfect element for making sure that we're eating the rainbow foods that are colorful and that we make that really easy in this experience too. Making room moments. I mean, the one thing that when you think about the Noah story, you think about the Noah's obedience and then the space that he had to make to really make it happen, right? To be present when that call came. And so we've created moments, prompts, suggestions for you to be able to make room in your life with this. In addition, we have the journaling aspect, and that's writing when you're alone. Sometimes when you're not alone, the process of just like writing through things, helping you to get clear, helping you to get grounded. Journaling is a part of that process. And we imagine that, maybe while people were on the ark, maybe they took some time to kind of write some thoughts down. They were reflective during that time. So we provided you with journaling as a way to process some of the things that may come up during our time together.
Yeah, and I want to say about the making room moments before we move on, it's all about making room for more of the things that feed your mind, your body, and your spirit.
Yes.
And so those making room moments are different types of activities that we suggest you do, some alone, some with God, and some with your family. And so that's what we mean by making room moments, because this fast is all about making room for more of the good things that your mind, your body, and your spirit thrives on.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, another moment just to make sure that we're still alive and it was still like present.
Are you there? Are you there?
Are you here? Now, earlier we asked you to think about how much of the rainbow you're having. Now, just take a little time to reflect on how many glasses of water do you have a day. Think about it, drop it in the chat, drop it in the comments, just let us know. Always really curious. And do you think that gallon of water a day is it going to be a struggle or is it going to be a piece of cake?
Yeah, and that's always a challenge. There's some people who don't really drink a whole lot of water, right? They may drink beverages all day. They're going to drink soda, they're going to drink tea, and all that. But we're saying we want you to drink water, right? And like Brandy said earlier, she does in the book. There are water recipes for infused water. No sugar added, though, no honey, no agave, but using fruits and vegetables and herbs to infuse the water, to flavor the water, to make it easier to go down. But we want you all to think about how much water, unadulterated water, are you drinking a day? Brandon, do you want to just share a little bit about why it's so important for us to drink water?
Yeah, water is a natural is a big component in just our ability to absorb nutrients. Our body in itself is made up of 70% water just off the bat. So if you think about your body needing that 70% in order for it to function, we're talking about things like your digestion, we're talking about things like your brain's ability to function, we're talking about your mobility. Something as simple as having some water will work. And it's funny because growing up, a lot of times you will hear somebody like, "Oh, I don't feel well. Like, go drink
Drink
some
some
water,
water.
right?" like my knee hurt. Go drink some water. And you're like, it's not really a solution to my problem. But when you think
I'm gonna
about
drink to that.
when you when you think about it though, like it does come from someplace. They even say like when you're hungry, if you think you're hungry, you might be dehydrated. So drink some
Mm,
water first before you even start to eat more food. So yeah, water plays a critical role in our overall wellness.
yeah. And so now we want to jump into looking at the fast for the 7 weeks. The Noah fast is a 40-day fast over the span of 7 weeks. And you may be asking, well, 7 weeks really is 49 days. If you when you purchase the book and it's available on Amazon, the Noah fast, we have it where we build in some prep days and also some Sabbath days, so that in the end you have 40 actual days of doing the fast, but then you have a few days to prepare for it, and some days you just kind of have a Sabbath rest day if you choose. If you want, you could just do full 7 weeks as well. We have broken up the 7 weeks into 7 different colors of the rainbow. Um, and so it makes it, and Brandy said it earlier, this is a fast that we want to be fun. This is not a fast that's meant to be restrictive. This is an expansive fast. And so every week you focus on eating a different color of the rainbow. Not saying you have to only eat one color food for that entire week, but we want you to focus on that color. But not only do we want you to eat foods of that color, there's so much in every week. We have it where each color has psychological significance. And so for green, that's the color of freshness, of nature, of fertility, of abundance, and of peace. And so we want you to also lean into those elements of the color week, right? So for green, and like I tell you, I have on a green shirt, we often tell people whatever color week you're in, maybe you wear that color periodically to remind yourself of what you're doing to keep yourself engaged in the process. There is a spiritual devotional for every week. So what I did as the so Brandy and I do food and faith. Did the faith component. Brandy did the food component, and we do a slow walk through the Noah story over the 7 weeks, and we explore some of the things that's going on. I'll say right now, this this fast is a plant. We always say it's a plant focused fast. You can eat meat if you choose, but all of the recipes we have in the book are plant based. Why? Because the Noah story, they were on a plant based diet as well. Now, you might be scrolling through your Bible, looking through Genesis, like, where does it say that? It doesn't say it explicitly. However, every animal that Noah brought onto the ark, it said 2 by 2. At the end of the story, every animal left 2 by 2. So that means whoever came on the ark left. No one was consumed. And so we are encouraging you to put more plants on your plate. If you don't want to abstain from meat, you don't have to. Again, this is not a restrictive fast. We want to expand your palate. And so we have some really great plant-based recipes for every color week. And so green, you would focus on eating some of those green foods. Brandy, do you want to tell us about blue?
Yeah, so blue is the second week of the experience, and we get into communication, tranquility, stability, and reliability. That's the psychological meaning of the color blue. And we also dig into the blue food. So this is the week of calm, being calm, and also identifying. I always say think about like comfort in your words, because
Mm.
it's that's kind of what I feel like by the time we get to this part of the experience. That's what we are.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And then we get to the Orange Week. Orange Week is my one of my favorites. I always say every week is my favorite. Orange Week is the third week, and orange is a color of creativity and happiness, excitement, rejuvenation, and positivity. And so we would hope that by the time you get into week 3, you've kind of got a groove. Um, and you maybe you feel a difference in your body because you've been putting more plants on your plate. Um, the scripture for Orange Week says, and the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. That's Genesis chapter 7, verse 12. And so I had to use my imagination and thinking, they're on the ark. It's been raining 40 days and 40 nights. What are they doing on the ark for all this time? They had to be creative with their time, just like we had to be creative during the pandemic. We played more games with our family. Like, what are the things you did? They probably were doing some artwork or whatever, right? So think about that as you go through Orange Week. We want people to lean into your creativity, and we have making room moments where we suggest different activities that you could do with your family or alone, where you would amp up the creativity bone in your body.
Yeah, and then one of my favorite weeks too is orange. But I want to say I resonate a lot with Red Week. Number one, Red Week is smack that in the middle of the experience, and sometimes when you start like a fast or a commitment in general, like you can get to a little midway point where you need a little bit more, like a little bit more gas to kind
Yeah.
of either recommit or just to move forward. And so Red Week is the week of passion and love and warmth and confidence. And
Mm.
I personally, like as a chef, my chef's jacket happens to be red. And it's one of the reminders of how much I'm passionate and I love like the
Mm.
work that I do. So it's kind of like that's kind of a really exciting week for me. So yeah, and like this is the week just all about reconnecting with your why, with your purpose. We're hoping that, we got 3 weeks into this. By week 4, we've gotten a little more clear about like what that is. What is it that we want to make more room for, right? And then we go into yellow. I'm wearing yellow. Another one of my yellow's like one of my favorite colors. Red is just a color I resonate with.
Mhm.
Yellow is like my favorite color. And this is the color of joy, energy, optimism, intellect, right?
Mm.
It is by this point in the experience, like that's really what it is that we want you to have like figured out, like kind of
Mhm.
activated. Like what are the things that make you, even if you haven't been making room for them, like now it's to the point where we're like, okay, these are the things that I want to
Yeah.
make room for. The prompts that we have in the journaling help you to explore that.
Yeah.
The foods that we're eating during that time also helps to activate that, the yellow foods. And in addition to that, those making room moments are in alignment with the yellow as well.
Yeah, and then we move into the pink week. And this is one of my favorites again. Pink is the color for compassion, innocence, nostalgia, tenderness, and affection.
Mm.
And so in Genesis chapter 8, this is when Noah sends out the dove from the ark, and the dove came back to him holding an olive leaf in her mouth, and then that helped Noah to know that the waters had receded from the earth. And so doves are a sign of peace and innocence. I love Pink Week because this is the week when we encourage you to enjoy a childhood pleasure, right? Remember, go back nostalgia, right? We'll go back to those simpler times because nostalgia actually helps to reduce stress levels. And
Mhm.
so, even with the journaling prompts, um, we have some things that help have you be able to sit and reflect on some of those elements of the color pink. So it's like the first journaling prompt says reflect about your faith as a child and as an adult. What evidence of growth are you seeing in yourself? And so that's just an example of one of the prompts that we have to give you an opportunity to take time to reflect as you go through this Noah fast experience. And then lastly, we have the purple week. Purple is the color of royalty, wisdom, bravery, spirituality, and uniqueness. Now, you've gone through 7 weeks at this. By the end of the fast, we would expect that you have gained some wisdom, some new insight on who you are, what you want to do, where you want to go. You may have done some assessments of your relationships with your family, your friends, your relationship with God, how you relate to yourself. And so, Purple Week, this is the close of the fast, but it's a time we feel that maybe by this point, you will have gotten some clarity on what you're making room for more of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
I'm
the
sure,
7 weeks.
yeah, 7 weeks. So now that you've heard about this experience, I'm sure you're wondering, how do I get in, right? How do I participate in this? Well, our next voyage is going to be taking place. It starts on February the 12th, right? So that's this year. That is 2 days before this season's Lenten season, right? This year's Lenten season. Just to give us a little bit of prep work to kind of get in there. And if you're interested in participating, you can get details at the noahfast.com website or contact us at the noahfast.com Gmail. And our website also gives details about different other programs and events that we have coming up.
Yeah. So we hope that you guys um, have learned a lot about the fast and it has piqued your interest in joining us for this next voyage. Join us. You can do it on your own. You can do it with us. We encourage you, just like the Noah's Ark. They went on 2 by 2. We encourage you to get an accountability partner. So share this with someone. Get someone to join you on this voyage. We are excited about it. We are making room for more in 2024, and we want you to be with us. Thank you.
Thanks.